Over 80 years ago, Allied forces liberated the victims of the Holocaust at the largest and most lethal of all camps, Auschwitz-Birkenau. At least 1.3 million people were forced into that camp alone. 10,000 would die every single day in the peak of the killing at that location. For the 1.1 million killed, most of them were Jews. Of the 1.1 million, most of them were Jews. The remains today are a witness, a demonstration, a tomb for all that came before and all that suffered so much. But it didn't begin overnight. The moment the Nazis seized power, they launched a campaign of repression and terror against the Jewish people. They attacked businesses and synagogues, destroying thousands in the Kristallnacht alone. The Nazis spread their vile hate first through depravity of deportations and ghettos and ending in the horror of the Holocaust, the monstrous genocide of the Jewish people. At least 6 million would be dead. This would be an almost unimaginable 2/3 of Europe's entire Jewish population. Today, we remember the millions of innocent lives stolen by the ugly Nazi ideology, and we honor the survivors who endured unimaginable starvation, torture, and loss. As time passes, fewer survivors remain among us to share their stories. So we must ensure that we tell their stories for them. The generations to come across the world remember the depravity of the Holocaust. When I had the chance to visit Auschwitz personally, I saw Jewish children laying one rock on another. This is in keeping with the Jewish tradition of putting a stone on top of a grave marking as a way of saying, we're still here. We haven't forgotten you. We still love you. It's a simple act, but each stone reminds us that the Nazis indeed failed, that the Jewish people are still here and they still remember. We cannot still ignore the scourge of ongoing anti-Semitism. After the attacks of October 7th, which victimized the people of Israel and indeed Jews all around the world, that victimhood, that meanness, that cruel anti-Semitism compounded itself. The victims themselves became the target of mass protests and constant denunciations for the crime of existing at all. Too often, anti-Israel sentiment morphs into anti-Semitism outright. We see this in the 3 synagogues in Halifax that were vandalized. In Montreal, thugs firebombed the Bet Tikva synagogue twice in 2 years. In Vancouver, criminals targeted the Shara Sadek, the largest Orthodox synagogue in Western Canada, in an attempted arson during evening prayers. And now these attacks have forced that synagogue to spend $1 million that could otherwise be going to helping people in need just to secure the facility. And just last fall, in this very city, someone stabbed a Jewish woman wearing a Star of David necklace while she was simply shopping at a grocery store. This wave of anti-Semitism has spread around the world. In Australia, 2 killers massacred 15 innocent lives, injuring 40 more on Hanukkah at Bondi Beach. Among the victims was Alexander Clement, an 87-year-old Holocaust survivor who died protecting his wife. He survived Hitler's genocide to be taken by the same anti-Semitism so many years later. These tragedies remind us of the importance of standing every day and every way against anti-Semitism. Today's anti-Semitism, regretfully, is more top-down than bottom-up. It is spread through university faculties and other educational institutions which teach people to fear and hate Israel. It is spread through grants by our own government to so-called anti-racist groups and individuals who themselves spread anti-Semitic hatred and tropes across the country. We must ensure that this never happens again. We must stand up for the right of Jews to live safely, peacefully, and openly with the Star of David on their chest, with the mezuzah on the door, with the kippah on their heads, proudly proclaiming their Judaism and celebrating who they are as both Canadians and Jews. When we do that, and when every single Jew feels safe and accepted in this country, then, and only then, will we have lived up to our oath, never again.